I would say my biggest superpower is the ability to foresee my future. And what I mean by that is I can visualize the next steps I need to take to go wherever I want to. For example, when I stopped going to high school and I really wanted to get into business, I really wanted to apprentice myself under this guy of the name of George Gammon. So what I did was, I could visualize working with him, having conversations exceptionally well. I just knew it was going to happen very, very, very deep down. I eventually got his logo tattooed on my leg. I flew out to meet him and I started working for him. The next person that I knew I was going to work with was this guy, Ken McElroy, who he has a 10,000 apartment real estate portfolio. This is when I was like just starting to get some clients for the new business model that I had that George really helped me kind of learn the skill set for, which was helping large businesses grow their social media so they could get more customers and taking a percentage of whatever they were earning. Really, the business model I have today that's going exceptionally well. And so I started working for him last January and absolutely fucking crushed it. I knew I made a video in September before I ever talked to Ken about this that I was going to be working with him, and I knew exactly what I was going to do. In Colombia, I was telling PJ, and I knew this, that we would be working with Robert Kiyosaki when we got back to Arizona. That is exactly what happened. But those are small things. I've also foreseen much bigger picture things. I mean, that's really what I'm like. If everyone kind of has their own abilities, mine's being able to see macro. What is the big picture? Where are we heading? And that's really what I would think through, at least in terms of myself and the business. And so to go where I see 5 years down the line, what I'm not as good at that I've been working on is breaking that down into, let's say, yearly goals and then quarterly goals and monthly goals to actually how do you get to where you want to be 5 years from now? This is what Ken's really good at is he has the big business 10-year plan, but then they just reverse engineer the math. So I'm going to tell you exactly what my business is going to do this year. Exactly. I'm going to take on 8 more clients at $15,000 per month. And so my MRR or monthly recurring revenue will probably be between 150 and $175,000 per month. I'll take on 8 clients and I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm going to do that because I've built the past probably 6 months. I've spent the time building the foundation to where I can really, really vertically scale and then add a lot of value on top of just the MRR because that's used to all I'd be hyper fixated on. But I don't give a fuck about just MRR anymore. That was just a bizarre thing that I thought that was the only thing that mattered. But it's total revenue. I mean, yearly revenue. It's flashy to think, hey, I made a bunch of money this month. But in reality, it's what's the yearly goal? What's the 5 year goal? And the reason this occurred was because for one of my clients, I was talking to him and I was saying that I wanted to start a high end consulting for him that I thought could maybe generate $1 million a year. And I didn't say that that's what I thought it could generate. That's just what I think it could generate. I think it could generate 1 to 2 million. And he said, well, Josh, figure out what the market price goes for and set like I just told him I'll set everything up. I'll book the calls. I'll close the clients. And if we get a sale, I'll kind of tailor their request to what you can provide. And he would be working with massive institutional firms. So I reached out to some hedge fund buddies of mine that are in a similar space and asked kind of what the going rate, especially for this guy's services, would be. And they said, well, it's about 200 grand of servicing. I was thinking, holy shit, that is, we were thinking of charging 50 grand. If we close 10 clients, that's adding $2 million a year. And so I go back and I kind of go over with this guy, this client that I've actually I've never talked about who it is. And he said, well, we'll split it 60-40. So if we close 10 clients at $2 million, that would increase my annual income by a drastic amount. And so once I now it's just closing the clients, but I've helped him grow such a large audience of very, very high net worth people. We wouldn't be working with people, it's institutional firms that want consulting from this guy on his very, very niche understanding of a certain portion of what he's talking about. But there's very high demand for what he's talking about from these institutional firms or hedge funds. And so I'm going to see if we can get some sales because that would be 100% profit margins and it would add a lot of revenue to the business. So here's how I'm going to get to 8 more clients. Well, I have the back end team of, thanks to Yusuf, who is really going to be a crucial part of this, continuing to grow the overseas team of editors. And we'll probably start to add a lot of thumbnail designers. We can get the quality better and better and better as we go. Then I have creatives who can do the fulfillment of the um, clients, like what I do for all my clients right now, like Robert and Ken and this guy and a few other people that I work with. That's how I think we could scale vertically, as well as PJ, who's a great operator. And so it took a long time to get all the pieces of the puzzle together, but now I think we have it. So, how do you get more clients? Or if I was starting at zero and you were someone else, how do you get clients? Well, first thing I'm going to do is use the network I have at my disposal, which is incredible. So, my network is my clients right now are Robert Kiyosaki, Ken McElroy, billionaires, and a bunch of other people. Those ones are just a lot more well known. And there's one person that I've talked about wanting to work with in the past, Russell Brunson, who is a marketing real expert. Because the businesses I want to work with, I have a very, very hyper selective profile for my ideal avatar of someone who I can show a lot of value to. It's someone who has a large business doing well over 8 figures per year, that already has a YouTube and social media that they've been trying to develop for a period of time, and they've seen little results, or they've seen results, but they want to go to the next level. So my ideal avatar is so small, but I have pretty much every person that I've taken over. I've just utterly dominated their niche. And when you show really, really good work, you can pretty much get the attention of anybody. So step one is getting a hold of Russell Brunson, because I think I can show a ton of value to him. And I want to hammer down on what am I doing here? I'm not thinking who can I close as a client that's going to pay me 15 to maybe, because $15,000 per month per client is not my goal. It's actually $25,000 per month, but I'll show you how I get there in a minute. But I look for people that I can provide a significant value to, because you have to understand, if someone's going to be paying you a lot of money per month, they're only going to do that if you are making them at least that much money or more per month. Period. I mean, very few people are going to say, I see the super long term vision of having a brand, and I want you to be the one to do it. There are very few profiles who do that, but the reality is, if you aren't making people close to $15,000 per month, they're not going to keep your service around. Fortunately, I make people a lot more money than that, so they keep me around. And I just usually have taken a revenue percentage up until recently, but when you start to vertically scale, there has to be a significant upfront cost. So, step one, I'm just going to use the network I have and start to find ways to reach out to these people like Russell Brunson, who I think I can show significant value to. I know that within 6 months, if I took over Russell Brunson's stuff, I could probably like 7 to 15x his results, and make him boatloads of money, absolutely boatloads of money. And I know exactly how I would do it, um, because he's an outlier person in his niche. He's just the exact avatar that I can show very, very, very good results for. And so, what happens when you do this? A lot of people just think about, I just need to get more and more and more leads. But I know for a fact, if I 10x'd Brunson's results in I think I could do it in probably 3 months. I mean, that's with Kiyosaki. If you go to his channel, I am only in charge of Robert's videos, but every single one of those is doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. They're really compounded and will probably get a few million each, which are massive, massive outliers to what they're doing. Their friends will see that, who also are large businesses in similar situations, and they're going to want the same types of services. But after I can, or it's not just Brunson, I'll make like an avatar list of people who I would like to work with, and using my network, I can pretty much get a hold of anybody. If I can ask Ken or Robert to potentially reach out on my behalf, with which I think they would most likely do, because I show them so much value and I make a lot of money for them. So it's a very mutualistic relationship, and the type of relationships that I have with them, I don't necessarily take the highest paying gig, but I want mentorship and I want help scaling. I mean, that was really my agreement with Ken, and now I fucking built I think I have built a foundation that can now really, really build quite high in terms of how many clients I can onboard. And so that's how that's step one is just reaching out to the existing network. And then once you show results for those people, their existing network wants to start to work with you. And then in May, it's towards the end of May or early June. I actually can't remember the dates. I'm going to a YPO global event, which is only 10-figure plus business owners who they have to make minimum 10 figures per uh, they have to make over 10 figures per year in their business minimum for tech funds or for tech um, companies. And I'm going there. I will most likely get a few clients there, as well as hopefully you can start to get inbound leads. So I'm really starting with my existing network that I've created over the past few years of just providing a lot of value to people for a long period of time, and then trying to piggyback that off using other people's networks that I continue to get new clients for, that I create more value if we show really good results, which I'm quite confident that we will. And so then the next step, because maybe I can get 10 clients over the next year doing that. But if I wanted 100 clients, which I'm not necessarily, I don't think I do for this business model, but a lot of it comes down to growing a personal brand, because it would be just as good if I get inbound leads of people who want to work with me. If I was getting 2 million views a month, I would get a lot of inbound leads for a multitude of different services that could be provided. So that would be another avenue. That's just not quickly. That's not a quick solution. I'm more so in this for 3 years from now. Um, but that's kind of what I help people do. So that's I think a lot of the clients will start to compound and you'll keep them over time. But my main thing is I just don't want a churn. So I just want to make sure the quality is represented at scale. So how do you go from 15 in MRR to almost $300,000 per year per client? And this wouldn't necessarily all be in the same calendar year that I'm kind of predicting. But I think once I take on a client, one of the things that I'm going to start to put into the agreement, or that I'm going to talk to them about, and say, hey, my goal, and this is what I want to do per client, is about $300,000 per year, 250 to $300,000 per year. I'm charging you 100. I'm charging you $15,000 per month. So here's how I think we can make the extra $100,000 to $150,000 difference. It's going to be after 8 months of me working with you, I'm going to create a high end product that's only going to take 2.5 days of your time, or do some sort of mega high end consulting that I'll do all the selling for, that we'll make a few $100,000 in, that will use the audience that I help you build. I'll monetize it, but I'm going to, one, pay for all of my services for the year. I'm going to pay for this is going to do something that generates enough money to pay for 100% of this money that you pay me this year to build your business and build your audience and your brand, but also we'll do some sort of profit share where I get to my revenue goal. And so I, that is not a bad offer at all. And the reason for that is I pay for myself, along with, I think I'll be able to generate them more than, much more than $15,000 per month. But after an 8 month period, pay for my entire services for the year, plus the difference of what I kind of want to get paid. And so we'll see how that works out. I mean, a lot of are subject to change, but the thing with having goals is they have to be pretty direct. I mean, I used to make a goal, I want to make $10,000 per month. I want to make $50,000 per month, but there wasn't tangible steps that were going to be made. So it's much easier to say, I'm going to take on 8 more clients this year at $15,000 per month. And that is going to get me to, let's say, $150,000 per month. Um, and then it's, okay, how can I really maximize the return per client, and then um, take this kind of to the next level, which it's not necessarily this business model that I want to take to the next level, but it would be the network that I create doing this, and um, the experience I gain at really, really, really growing media, because the amount of reps I'll get to have, and the team that I'll get to build, and all the creatives, the types of people that I'll get to have around me, that's what would take my next goal to the real next level, because I would be surrounded and I'd have the income to put all that into let's say a future brand that I want to create because I think that's much higher leverage. It's not just getting a few million views per month, but 50 million views per month, 100 million views per month. What can you do then? And that's what I'm really interested in terms of monetization and how to turn something into like a really really large company or buyout companies. And if you have the marketing leg, how to push the distribution on those types of businesses. So that's what I really like. And so anyway, uh, I haven't been posting it a lot lately. I actually have been making videos, but just haven't been posting them. I like posting videos. I like making them. So anyway,